We don't let the help touch our son. Rebecca, the CEO's assistant, said it loud enough for everyone to hear. Her eyes traveled from Amara Wilson's black skin down to the server's apron with pure disgust. Inside the Acorn Room, the billionaire CEO's autistic son wouldn't eat. Nathan Caldwell, 9 years old, 72 hours without a single bite. His desperate father was on his knees begging. 2 white doctors stood helpless, $4,500 in fees, and they couldn't do what needed to be done. 18 hours until the emergency room. Amara, the black waitress refilling water glasses, was the only one who knew how to save him. 12 years as a therapist, 43 autistic children saved. She'd done what doctors couldn't do. But one wealthy white mother's lie 7 years ago destroyed everything. Now she was just another invisible black woman bringing bread. Rebecca dismissed her. "We'll call if we need something." Amara knocked anyway. That boy was dying, and she could do what those expensive doctors couldn't. "Let me take you back 2 hours." It was Saturday, 5 o'clock, and I'd just clocked in for the evening shift at Sterling Oak. 16 years I'd been working there. 16 years of carrying trays and memorizing wine pairings and making myself invisible to people who saw the uniform before they saw me. Gerald Davis, the manager, briefed me on the night's VIP reservations. He's been there as long as I have. Black man in his 50s, sharp suits, sharper memory. He knows every regular, every dietary restriction, every unspoken rule of Manhattan fine dining. "Table 12, he said, pulling up the reservation. "Thomas Caldwell, CEO. Has a son, 9 years old, autistic. They've been coming every Saturday at 6:30 for 18 months. Same order every time." I knew Thomas Caldwell. Everyone knew Thomas Caldwell. His company made the drugs doctors prescribed to kids like his son. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. "What's the order?" I asked. Gerald showed me. Chicken tenders, plain, brand X specific, no seasoning. Plain pasta, no sauce, no butter. Apple slices cut a specific way. Goldfish crackers as backup. The kind of precision that told me everything I needed to know about Nathan Caldwell before I ever met him. This was a child who needed predictability, a child whose nervous system required the world to stay the same. At 6:30, I was serving the table next to the Acorn Room when they arrived. The private dining room door stood open, and I had a clear view inside. Thomas Caldwell entered first. Expensive suit, tired eyes, phone pressed to his ear. Behind him came Dr. Breslow, whom I recognized from medical journals. Then Dr. Porter. Then Rebecca Williams, his executive assistant carrying folders. Then a photographer with professional camera equipment. And finally, Nathan, 9 years old, small for his age, holding an iPad with both hands like a shield. He walked straight to the corner seat, back against the wall, eyes scanning the room in a pattern I recognized immediately. Ceiling, door, table, ceiling again, safety check. This child was verifying his environment before he could relax. But he never relaxed. Jennifer, the waitress assigned to their room, served water at 6:45. Nathan didn't touch his glass. His eyes kept moving in that same pattern, faster now. At 7:15, Jennifer brought the food. Chicken tenders on a white plate, exactly as ordered for 18 months. Nathan looked down at the plate. He didn't touch it. Thomas leaned forward gently. "Nathan, it's your favorite. Same as always." Nathan's hands started flapping at his sides. Small movements, rapid. I'd seen that before. That wasn't excitement. That was stress. For the next 70 minutes, I served my tables while keeping 60% of my attention on that room. 7:20. Nathan still hasn't touched his food. Hands flapping harder. 7:35. Dr. Breslow leans in close to talk to him. Nathan leans back, putting distance between them. 7:50. Thomas moves a fork closer to Nathan's plate. Nathan pushes the entire plate away 2 inches. 8:05. Dr. Porter shows Nathan something on an iPad, some kind of reward app. Nathan doesn't look at it. 8:15. Jennifer comes back to refill water. Nathan doesn't acknowledge her. For a child who'd been coming here 18 months, that was wrong. He should have recognized her. 8:20. The photographer leans in to take a photo of the table. Nathan's whole body goes rigid. 8:30. Dr. Breslow reaches out and touches Nathan's shoulder. Nathan jerks away like he's been burned. His hands fly up to cover his ears. He slides off his chair, down to the floor, into the corner. Starts rocking. From my station, I could hear Thomas's voice crack. "Nathan, please." I'd been a sensory integration therapist for 12 years before I became a waitress. 12 years of working with children exactly like Nathan. I'd published 16 research papers. I'd written 2 textbooks. I'd trained 43 therapists. And then one parent lied, and I lost everything. But standing outside that room, watching that little boy shut down, I felt something I hadn't felt in 7 years. I felt like a therapist again. Gerald appeared at my elbow. "Amara, table 9 needs bread." "Gerald," I said quietly, "that boy is in sensory overload. They're making it worse." He gave me a look. The look that said, "You know you can't get involved." "If I don't do something," I whispered, "he's going to the ER tonight." I'd lost my license helping kids like Nathan, and now I had to watch one suffer because I was just the help. At 8:45, I stood outside the Acorn room with my hand raised to knock. Everything in me said, don't. Don't risk the job. Don't risk the lawsuit. Don't risk the humiliation of being dismissed by people who'd never see past my uniform. But I knocked anyway. Thomas looked up, exhausted and annoyed. "Yes, we didn't call for anything." "I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Caldwell. My name is Amara Wilson. I've been observing your son for the past 2 hours, and I think I can help." Dr. Breslow's voice was ice. "You've been observing him?" "I work the tables near this room. I couldn't help but notice he's in distress." Dr. Porter cut me off. "Miss, we appreciate your concern, but we're handling this. We're medical professionals." Thomas started to speak, but I didn't leave. "Mr. Caldwell, your son isn't refusing to eat because he's stubborn. He's in sensory overload, and every time someone tries to help him, it gets worse." Dr. Breslow stood up. "With all due respect, you're a waitress. We've been treating Nathan for years." "Then why is he covering his ears?" I said evenly, "when the noise level in this room is actually lower than usual?" The room went silent. Dr. Porter frowned. "What?" "This room is soundproofed. I checked with Gerald earlier. Ambient noise is 52 decibels. That's lower than normal conversation. If Nathan was overloaded by sound, he would have covered his ears when you arrived at 6:30. He only did it at 8:30, so it's not the sound." Thomas was paying attention now. "Then what is it?" "May I come in? I need to be closer to explain." Dr. Breslow opened her mouth to object, but Thomas raised his hand. "Let her talk." I stepped inside, stayed 10 feet from Nathan. Didn't look at him directly. Spoke to Thomas. When Nathan arrived, he did a safety check. His eyes scanned the ceiling, the door, the table. That's standard behavior for autistic children in public spaces. He was verifying the environment. That part was fine. I kept my voice clinical, professional. The voice I'd used in case presentations for 12 years. At 7:15, Jennifer served his food. Nathan looked at the plate but didn't touch it. His hands started flapping. That's mild stress, not panic. At 7:50, you moved a fork toward his plate. He pushed the plate away exactly 2 inches. That's boundary communication. He was telling you he needs space. Thomas was staring at me now. At 8:20, someone photographed the table. Nathan's body tensed immediately. That's when the stress escalated to anxiety. At 8:30, Dr. Breslow touched his shoulder. Nathan went from anxiety to shutdown. That's not about the restaurant environment. That's about expectations. Dr. Porter leaned forward. How do you know all this? I took a breath. Because I used to do this for a living. I was a sensory integration specialist. 12 years. I lost my license in 2016. Dr. Breslow's expression shifted to suspicion. Why did you lose it? A parent sued me, accused me of inappropriate contact during therapy. It wasn't true. I was cleared 18 months later, but by then I couldn't afford to fight for reinstatement. The silence was heavy. Thomas looked at Nathan, still curled in the corner, still rocking. So you're working here? For 16 years. I have 2 children and a mother with cancer. I need the health insurance this job provides. Thomas's voice was barely above a whisper. What's wrong with him? Nathan's not overloaded by this environment. He's overloaded by expectation. There are 6 people in this room. Usually it's just you and him, correct? Yes. Saturday nights, 6:30. Just the 2 of us. Today there are doctors, an assistant, a photographer. Nathan knows something's different. He knows you need something from him, and he knows he can't give it. Thomas's face crumpled. He put his head in his hands. Oh God. He heard me this morning. I told Rebecca on their phone, I said if we could just get him to eat tonight, I could show the board I'm still in control. He doesn't want to disappoint you, I said softly. So he's choosing to disappear instead. Thomas looked up at me, tears on his face. Can you help him? Dr. Porter started to protest, but Thomas held up his hand. She noticed in 2 hours what we missed in 3 days. Miss Wilson, I'm asking you, will you help my son? I need everyone except you to leave the room, and I need 15 minutes with no interruptions. Dr. Porter stood. Thomas, we can't leave a child. Out, Thomas said. Everyone out. Now. Nathan picked up the napkin and started folding, but we still had 14 hours until the hospital. The room emptied. Only Thomas, Nathan, and I remained. Nathan was still on the floor in the corner, hands over his ears, rocking in a rhythm that told me his nervous system was trying to regulate itself. 3 rocks forward, pause, 3 rocks back, rocks. The human body's attempt to create predictability when the world feels chaotic. Mr. Caldwell, I said quietly, I need you to sit at the far end of the table. Don't speak unless I ask you to. Don't move. Just be present. But I should. If you want me to help, you have to trust me. Can you do that? He nodded and moved to the farthest chair. I sat down on the floor 8 feet from Nathan, back against the wall, mirroring his position. I didn't speak, didn't look at him, just breathed slowly, visibly, letting my shoulders rise and fall in an exaggerated rhythm he could see if he looked my way. 2 minutes passed. Nathan's rocking slowed slightly. His eyes flickered toward me, then away. He'd registered my presence. Hey, Nathan, I said softly, still not looking at him. My name is Amara. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. I'm just going to sit here for a little while. Is that okay? He didn't respond, but his rocking slowed a fraction more. If you want me to leave, you can point to the door. I'll go. You're in charge here. 90 seconds of silence. Nathan didn't point. That was consent. Mr. Caldwell, I said, keeping my voice calm, can you please turn off the overhead lights? Use only the wall sconces. Thomas stood and flipped the switch. The room dimmed from bright white 4,000 Kelvin light to warm 2,700 Kelvin amber. The blue spectrum that exacerbates sensory sensitivity disappeared. Nathan's hands lowered slightly from his ears. Can you text Rebecca and ask the kitchen to turn off the exhaust fan? It's creating a 60-cycle hum that Nathan can hear, but we can't. Thomas pulled out his phone, typed quickly. 30 seconds later, the barely perceptible hum stopped. Nathan's hands came all the way down. His rocking slowed to a gentle sway. I pulled a white linen napkin from the chair beside me. Nathan, I'm going to do something, and you can watch or not watch. Your choice. I'm going to fold this napkin. I folded the napkin slowly, quartered it, then quartered it again, creating 16 small squares. Then I unfolded it and started over. Repetitive, predictable, no surprises. Nathan's eyes tracked my hands. I folded it 8 times, each time the exact same way. Nathan's breathing settled into a slower rhythm. His body stopped swaying. Would you like to fold one? I asked, still not looking directly at him. I slid a napkin across the floor. It stopped 3 feet from Nathan. 40 seconds passed. Nathan stared at the napkin. Then he reached out, picked it up, and started folding. He copied my pattern exactly. 16 squares. Unfold. Repeat. At the far end of the table, Thomas was crying silently. We folded napkins together for 3 minutes. No words. Just the soft sound of fabric moving. Then I said, Nathan, I'm going to get something from that table over there. I'll be back in 10 seconds. Is that okay? He looked at the table, looked at me, and nodded. I stood slowly, walked to the food table and picked up the plate of apple slices. Returned to my spot, sat down 8 feet from Nathan. I placed the plate on the floor between us, equidistant. I'm hungry, I said conversationally. I'm going to eat an apple slice. You can eat one if you want, or not. Both are fine. I picked up an apple slice and ate it slowly, deliberately. Nathan watched. I ate a second slice. Nathan looked at the plate, looked away, looked back. If you want one, you can take one, I said. If you don't, I'll just eat a couple more and then we can go back to folding. 2 minutes passed. Nathan didn't touch the plate. Okay, I said, no disappointment in my voice. I ate a third slice and returned to folding my napkin. 1 minute later, Nathan's hand moved toward the plate. He stopped 6 inches away. I didn't look up, kept folding. Nathan's fingers touched an apple slice. He pulled his hand back, touched it again, picked it up. He held it for 90 seconds, smelled it, looked at it, rotated it in his fingers. Then he took a tiny bite from the corner. He chewed slowly, swallowed. 74 hours without food, and he just ate. I kept folding, didn't react. Apple slices are good, I said, matter of fact. Nathan took a second bite. Bigger this time. Then a third. He finished the slice and reached for another. Nathan, I said, still folding, how's your stomach? Does it feel okay? It's okay, he whispered. First words in 74 hours. Good. If it starts to hurt, tell me and we'll stop. You're in charge of your body. He ate 3 more apple slices, half of what he needed, but enough. Enough to keep him out of the emergency room tonight. I stood slowly. I'm going to get the other plates now. I'll bring them close, but you don't have to touch them, okay? Nathan nodded. I brought the chicken tenders and pasta, placed them 4 feet away, farther than the apples. Nathan looked at the chicken plate. Can I smell it? Of course. Your nose, your choice. He crawled over 3 feet, leaned down and smelled the chicken. Then he pulled back, confused. It smells different. Different how? I asked, suddenly alert. Like the kitchen here, but also like something else. I turned to Thomas. Mr. Caldwell, what brand of chicken tenders did you order? The same as always, brand X. Are you sure? Did you verify the box? Thomas paused. I told Rebecca to order them. Rebecca, can you check? Rebecca appeared at the door, phone in hand. Her face went pale as she scrolled. Oh no, the supplier was out of brand X. They substituted brand Y. Same product, different breading. I didn't think it would matter. The room went silent. "Nathan," I said, "your nose is right. The chicken is a little bit different. Your body knew something was wrong. That's why you didn't want it." Nathan's voice was small. "I'm not being bad?" "No, honey, you're being smart. Your body was protecting you." Thomas covered his face with his hands. "Oh my God, I didn't check. I was so stressed I just assumed." "The pasta is the same," I said quickly. "Let me verify." I went to the kitchen, came back with the pasta box. "This is the right one. Same brand, same supplier." Nathan looked at it, smelled it carefully, and nodded. "It's right." He ate a third of the plate. Enough. At 10 o'clock, Nathan had eaten 4 apple slices and a third of a plate of pasta. Approximately 200 calories. Not a feast. Not a full meal. But enough to avoid the hospital. Enough to prove he wasn't broken. "Thank you," Nathan said to me. "You did all the work," I said. "I just sat with you." "Can you sit with me again?" I looked at Thomas. "That's up to your dad." Nathan ate because I listened to what his body was saying, but the doctors still thought it was luck. Dr. Breslow and Dr. Porter came back into the room at 10 o'clock and stopped dead. Nathan was sitting calmly on the floor, finishing his pasta, not in the corner anymore, not rocking, just eating. "He's eating," Dr. Breslow said, stunned. "How much?" Dr. Porter asked. 4 apple slices, about a third of the pasta, Thomas said, in the last 15 minutes. Dr. Breslow turned to me. "What did you do?" I stood, brushed off my uniform. I removed expectation, reduced sensory input to baseline, and gave him structured autonomy. Dr. Porter frowned. "Can you be specific?" I pulled out the small notebook I keep in my apron, the one where I'd been tracking everything. At 9:02, I sat 8 feet from Nathan, mirroring his body position. Non-threatening posture, no eye contact demand. At 9:05, I had Mr. Caldwell reduce lighting from 4,000 Kelvin to 2,700 Kelvin, eliminating the blue spectrum. At 9:08, I had the kitchen turn off the exhaust fan, producing a 60-cycle hum at 58 decibels. At 9:12, I introduced parallel activity through napkin folding to regulate his nervous system. At 9:18, I offered a visual choice board. At 9:37, I modeled eating without verbal demand, then placed food equidistant between us. His choice to approach. At 9:44, Nathan took his first bite. I did not praise or react because praise creates expectation of repeat performance. The doctors stared at me. Dr. Porter said slowly, "That's a textbook sensory integration protocol, advanced level." "I wrote 2 of the textbooks you're thinking of," I said. Co-authored 2012 and 2014. I was a clinical specialist at Brooklyn Early Intervention Center for 12 years. I published 16 papers on autism sensory processing. I trained 43 therapists. Dr. Breslow's mouth opened. "You wrote, and then I lost everything because one parent lied." Thomas leaned forward. "Tell me what happened. All of it." So I told them. About Jamie, the 8-year-old with severe tactile defensiveness. About Mrs. Patterson, who decided she didn't like that a black woman was touching her son. About the complaint filed, the allegation of inappropriate conduct, the 18-month investigation that cost me $40,000 in legal fees. My entire retirement savings gone. About being cleared when the investigator found Mrs. Patterson had fabricated the complaint because she was angry I'd told her Jamie needed more intensive services than she wanted to pay for. About how clearing my name didn't clear my record. How getting my license reinstated would take 3 more years, another $15,000, with no guarantee of success. About my mother's stage 3 cancer diagnosis. About needing health insurance immediately. About Sterling Oak offering benefits to full-time staff. About becoming a waitress and watching 12 years of expertise collect dust while I carried bread baskets. "You saved my son," Thomas said quietly, "with knowledge you weren't supposed to use anymore." I saved your son with knowledge I never stopped having. They took my license. They didn't take my brain. Dr. Porter leaned back in his chair. Miss Wilson, I have a question. What would it take for you to get your license back? $15,000, 3 years of bureaucracy, and a system that believes a black woman over a white complaint. What if I told you I sit on the New York State Licensing Board for Allied Health Professionals? I looked up, shocked. You what? I can fast-track your reinstatement. Expedited review, 6 months instead of 3 years. And if Thomas is willing to cover the fees... Thomas stood. I'll cover them. Right now. Today. I don't understand, I said. You saved my son. I built an $8 billion company that claims to help children like Nathan. But you did more in 30 minutes than my entire company has done in 10 years. The least I can do is give you back what was stolen. Nathan walked over to me. Didn't touch, but stood close. You helped me. Now Dad and the doctors are helping you. That's fair. 20 minutes later, Gerald appeared at the door. Amara, I need to speak with you. I stood, wiped my eyes. I know, I overstepped. I'm ready to... Mr. Caldwell called me 10 minutes ago. He's requested you be assigned as his family's permanent private server with a $50,000 annual retainer on top of your regular salary. I told him we don't do private retainers. He said, you do now. Also, he's donating $2 million to the restaurant's staff education fund. I couldn't speak. Gerald smiled. Congratulations, Amara. They gave me back my future in 30 minutes, but Nathan still had to face tomorrow. Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. 18 hours after Nathan ate his first meal in 3 days. My phone rang. Thomas Caldwell. Nathan ate breakfast, he said, and I could hear the tears in his voice. Pancakes. By himself, without anyone asking. That's wonderful, I said. Can you teach me? Can you teach me how to do what you did? That afternoon, I drove to the Caldwell estate for the first time. A house in the Hamptons that probably cost more than I'd earn in 10 lifetimes. Thomas paid me $500 for a 3-hour consultation. That was more than I made in 2 shifts at Sterling Oak. Nathan saw me arrive and ran to the door. You came. I told you I would, I said. Do you want to show me your room? He led me upstairs. For the next 3 hours, I taught Thomas Caldwell how to be present with his son. Principle 1, autonomy over obedience. At lunch, Thomas asked Nathan what he wanted to eat. Nathan froze, overwhelmed by the open question. I corrected him. Nathan, do you want A, grilled cheese, B, pasta, or C, chicken tenders? Point to 1. Nathan pointed to B. Choices, not open questions. 3 options maximum. Visual when possible. Principle 2. Presence without pressure. Nathan was playing with Legos in the living room. Thomas sat down next to him and asked, Can I play with you? Nathan's body tensed immediately. He stopped playing. I intervened. Don't ask permission to engage. Just be present nearby without expectation. I demonstrated, sitting 6 feet away with a book. 10 minutes later, Nathan brought me a Lego piece. Can you hold this? He asked. I held it. He kept building, occasionally handing me pieces. That was connection without demand. Principle 3. Validation before correction. Nathan refused to wear a jacket despite the 55-degree temperature outside. Thomas tried to insist. I stopped him. Nathan, you don't want the jacket because... I waited. Nathan said, It's scratchy. I asked, The tag or the fabric? He pointed to the wrists. The sleeves are tight here. The solution wasn't forcing the jacket. It was finding a hoodie with loose cuffs. Nathan wore it immediately. Principle 4. Predictability reduces anxiety. We created a visual schedule board for Nathan's week. School 8 to 3, homework 4 to 5, iPad time 5 to 6, dinner at 6:30, bath at 7:30, bed at 8:30. Saturday dinner at Sterling Oak marked with a photo of the restaurant. Sunday, free choice activities. Nathan studied the board carefully. "Every week the same?" he asked. "Most weeks," I said. "If something changes, Dad will tell you 3 days early." Nathan visibly relaxed. Principle 5, your anxiety is contagious. I pulled Thomas aside. When you're stressed, Nathan absorbs it. He reads your body language better than you think. When you're with him, you're just Dad, not CEO. Can you do that? Thomas hesitated. "I have a board meeting Tuesday. I can't just not be stressed." "Then don't bring that stress into Nathan's space." At 5 o'clock, Thomas made me an offer. Work with us, officially. Not as a waitress, as a consultant. $2,000 per week. 2 sessions with Nathan, 1 session coaching me. I calculated quickly. $8,000 a month, more than Sterling Oak. But I'd learned my lesson about depending on one family. "I need to keep my job at Sterling Oak until my license comes back," I said. "Weekend and evenings then. Flexible schedule. You decide." I had one condition. "If I ever tell you that what you're doing is harming Nathan, you stop immediately. No debate." Thomas swallowed hard. Agreed. The next day, Monday evening, I came back. Nathan asked if we could fold napkins. We spent 30 minutes in comfortable silence, just folding. Then Nathan spoke. "Amara, do you have kids?" "Yes, 2, a girl and a boy." "Do they think you're weird?" "Sometimes." "Do people think you're weird?" He nodded. "Being different isn't the same as being weird," I said. "Different means your brain works in a special way. Weird means people don't understand yet." "Will they ever understand?" "Some will, and those are the people who matter." Tuesday morning, Thomas called me before his board meeting, voice shaking. "They're going to ask about Nathan. They want to know if I'm still capable of leading with a special needs child." What do I say? Tell them the truth. That your son teaches you patience, observation, and how to listen to what isn't said. That any company would be lucky to be led by someone who doesn't give up when things are hard. There was silence. "Or tell them it's none of their damn business," I added. "And if they want to challenge your leadership, they can vote." Thomas laughed through tears. "You're very direct." "I'm black, Mr. Caldwell. I don't have the luxury of being indirect." That evening at 6:15, I arrived at the Caldwell house. Nathan ran to the door. "Did Dad call you?" "He did. How was your day?" "Okay. I'm worried about Dad. He's been gone a long time. He's at an important meeting, but he'll be home soon. What if they're mad at him because of me?" I knelt down to eye level. "Nathan, listen to me. If anyone is mad at your dad because of you, that's their problem, not yours. You are not a burden. You are not a problem to solve. You are a person, and your dad knows that." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." At 8 o'clock, Thomas came home 2 hours late. Exhausted. Tie loosened. "Dad?" Nathan said anxiously. "Hey, buddy. Are you okay?" Thomas sat down heavily. The meeting was long. "What did they say? About me?" Thomas looked at his son. "I told them you're the best thing that ever happened to me. And if they don't like that, they can find a new CEO." Silence filled the room. "You said that?" Nathan whispered. "Word for word." Nathan walked over and hugged his father. The first hug in 6 months. Thomas broke down, crying. I quietly left the room and gave them privacy. Thomas chose his son over the board, but he didn't know yet what that choice would cost. 2 weeks later, the world reminded us that choosing kindness doesn't mean choosing easy. Wednesday afternoon, 2:30. Thomas got a call from Riverside Elementary, Nathan's private school. "Mr. Caldwell, we had an incident. Nathan had a meltdown in class. He's in the nurse's office, refusing to speak." I got Thomas's text at Sterling Oak in the middle of lunch service. Emergency. Nathan shut down at school. Can you come? I told Gerald I had a family emergency. He waved me off without question. I arrived at Riverside Elementary 45 minutes later. Nathan was in the nurse's office, sitting in the corner, hands over ears, rocking. Thomas stood helplessly nearby. The principal, Mrs. Hayes, looked uncomfortable. We can't get him to talk. Let me try, I said. I went in alone, sat on the floor 6 feet away, pulled out a napkin from my apron, started folding. Nathan eventually looked up, saw the napkin, crawled over. We folded in silence for 8 minutes. Then I said, Something happened today. Nathan nodded. Do you want to tell me, show me, or write it? Write. I gave him my notebook. He wrote in capital letters, Tyler said I'm broken. He took my pencil. I asked for it back. He threw it. I tried to get it. He pushed me. Teacher said I started it. I showed the note to Thomas and Principal Hayes. That's not what Tyler said, Hayes replied. Tyler said Nathan attacked him unprovoked. Did you ask any other students? Tyler is a very honest boy. His father is on the school board. I kept my voice level. I see. So Nathan's word doesn't matter because Tyler's father has power. That's not what I meant, Thomas cut in. I want to see the classroom camera footage. We don't have cameras in classrooms. Privacy policy. Convenient, I said. Thomas's voice went cold. Then interview every student in that class. Today, right now. Before Tyler's father tells them what to say. Hayes tried to object, but Thomas made it clear. Either she investigated properly, or he'd file a discrimination complaint with the State Education Board and withdraw Nathan with a $5 million lawsuit. Hayes interviewed 8 students separately. 6 confirmed Nathan's story. Tyler provoked him. Tyler pushed first. The teacher blamed Nathan because Nathan couldn't explain himself quickly. Hayes was forced to admit there had been a misunderstanding. What consequences for Tyler? I asked. We'll talk to his parents. Not good enough. If Nathan had been the aggressor, what would happen? 3-day suspension. Then Tyler gets 3 days. Same rule for everyone. Hayes protested. Tyler's father wouldn't accept it. Thomas leaned forward. My son will not be punished for being autistic while another child gets away with bullying because his father has power. Suspend Tyler. Or I'll withdraw Nathan and sue for $5 million. Your choice. Tyler was suspended. In the car going home, Nathan asked quietly, Why did the teacher believe Tyler and not me? Because Tyler can talk easily and you can't, I said. Because Tyler's dad has power and that makes people scared. Because the world isn't always fair. That's not right. No, it's not. But you did something right. You wrote it down, you told me the truth, and your dad fought for you. What if it happens again? Then we fight again. Every single time. That night, after Nathan was asleep, Thomas sat in his study with a glass of whiskey he didn't drink. 2 board members resigned last week. They said I'm distracted by personal issues. Today I threatened to sue Nathan's school. Tomorrow the board will know. They'll have more ammunition. Do you regret it? I asked. No, but I'm scared. I built this company for 20 years. It's my identity. Then maybe that's the problem. Your identity can't be the company, because companies can be taken away. Your identity has to be what you defend when no one's watching. Today, you defended your son. That's who you really are. His phone rang. Richard Sterling, board chairman. Thomas, we need to talk about your priorities. If this is about Nathan, it's about the company. You've missed 3 investor calls. You left a meeting early last week. Now I hear you threatened a school? That school discriminated against my son. Thomas, I'm saying this as a friend. You need to choose. CEO or father. You can't do both right now. Thomas looked at me. I nodded. Then I choose father. I'll step down as CEO. Effective in 60 days. I'll stay on as chairman part-time. But I'm done sacrificing my son for a company. Silence on the other end. Thomas, don't be rash. I'm not. I'm being clear. For the first time in 10 years. He hung up. You just gave up $8 billion, I said. Thomas laughed, slightly hysterical. Yeah, I did. How do you feel? Terrified. And free. Is that weird? No, that's human. Thomas gave up $8 billion in one phone call, and 60 days to figure out who he was without it. 4 weeks later, I learned that healing isn't a straight line. It was Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. Thomas was at his office, packing personal items, last week as CEO. He'd brought some boxes home the night before. Nathan saw those boxes in Thomas's home office. Why are there boxes? He asked Eleanor Grant, the retired special education teacher I'd recommended as Nathan's tutor. Your dad is packing some things from his office. Is he leaving? Eleanor tried to explain, but Nathan's breathing went rapid. His hands started shaking. He ran to the bathroom and locked the door. Eleanor called Thomas. Thomas called me. I arrived in 15 minutes. Nathan was still locked in the bathroom. I could hear his breathing through the door. Fast, shallow, hyperventilating. 35 breaths per minute. Normal is 12 to 16. I knocked gently. Nathan, it's Amara. I'm not going to ask you to open the door. I'm just going to sit here and wait, okay? No response, but I could hear him. I'm going to count breaths with you. Listen to my voice. In for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I repeated the pattern 8 times. 3 minutes. Nathan's breathing slowed from 35 breaths per minute to 20. Still elevated, but better. Thomas arrived, rushed toward the bathroom. I stopped him. Don't. He's in fight or flight. Your anxiety will spike his. Go put the boxes away. All of them. Right now. What? The boxes triggered this. He thinks you're leaving. Put them away, then come back calm. Thomas ran to his office. I kept talking through the door. Nathan, I'm going to tell you where you are. You're in the bathroom, the blue bathroom on the first floor. The door is locked. You locked it. That means you're safe. No one can come in unless you let them. You're in control. 30 seconds of silence. Your dad is home. He's in the house. He's not leaving. He's putting boxes away right now. Nathan's breathing paused, then continued slower. 2 minutes later, his voice came through the door, weak. The boxes. I know. You saw boxes and thought he was going away. Is he? No. He's changing his job so he can be home more. The opposite of going away. Your dad should have told you about the boxes. That's his mistake, not yours. 90 seconds of silence. Can you come in? I can't. You locked the door, but you can unlock it. When you're ready. No rush. At 10:55, the lock clicked. Nathan opened the door slowly. He was sitting on the floor, face red, tear-streaked. I sat on the floor outside the bathroom, 4 feet away. Didn't enter his space. Didn't hug. Didn't touch. That was really scary, I said. He nodded. Your body was trying to protect you. That's what panic feels like. It's not dangerous, but it feels dangerous. I thought Dad was leaving like Mom did. First mention of his mother leaving. Thomas had said divorced but never gave details. Thomas came back, knelt at a distance. Nathan, I am so sorry. I should have told you about the boxes. I'm not leaving. I'm never leaving. Mom left. Thomas's voice broke. Mom made a choice I don't understand. But I will never make that choice. Never. Promise? I promise. And if I ever have to go somewhere, I will tell you 3 days before, show you on the calendar, and tell you exactly when I'm coming back. Deal? Nathan whispered. Deal. I spent the next 30 minutes teaching Nathan 3 tools for managing panic attacks. Tool 1, 5-4-3-2-1 grounding. When panic starts, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. It pulls your brain out of danger mode and into right now mode. Nathan practiced. I see. Door, sink, floor, window, towel. I can touch, floor, wall, my shirt, my shoe. I hear your voice, Dad breathing, a car outside. I smell soap, Dad's cologne. I taste water from earlier. Tool 2, box breathing. I drew a square on an index card with numbers. In for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, repeat. Keep this in your pocket. When panic starts, pull it out, follow the box. Nathan put the card in his pocket immediately. Tool 3, safe person signal. When you're with me or Dad and you start to panic, squeeze our hand 3 times. That's the signal. I need help, but I can't talk. We'll know what to do. What will you do? We'll take you somewhere quiet. Start box breathing with you, and wait until you're ready. Thomas nodded. 3 squeezes. I'll remember. That afternoon at 3 o'clock, I had my license reinstatement hearing. New York State Licensing Board, Lower Manhattan. Panel of 5 board members, including Dr. James Porter. They'd reviewed my application. Exemplary clinical work from 2004 to 2016. A complaint in 2016, later dismissed. Can you speak to that complaint? The chairman asked. I told them everything. The accusation, the 18-month investigation, being cleared but unable to afford reinstatement. 7 years as a waitress while my expertise gathered dust. A board member asked why I was seeking reinstatement now. Because 6 weeks ago I watched a 9-year-old boy nearly die from starvation while doctors stood helpless. I had the knowledge to save him, but I wasn't supposed to use it. That's when I realized I can't be afraid of my own expertise anymore. Dr. Porter asked if I'd maintained my knowledge during the 7 years away. I read every journal article I could access through public library databases. I attended 2 conferences on my own dime. I observed every child I served at the restaurant, every family I watched. I never stopped being a therapist in my mind. They deliberated for 25 minutes. I waited outside, hands shaking. At 4 o'clock, they called me back. Dr. Porter spoke. Ms. Wilson, the board has voted unanimously to reinstate your license, effective immediately. Welcome back to the profession. I couldn't speak. Tears ran down my face. Another board member added, We also want to apologize. The system failed you in 2016. We can't give you back 7 years, but we're implementing new protections for therapists accused of misconduct. Due process before license suspension, so this doesn't happen to anyone else. At 5:30, I arrived at the Caldwell home. Nathan ran to the door. Did you get it? I pulled out the paper. I got it. What does it say? It says I'm a therapist again. Nathan paused. Does that mean you won't be our therapist anymore? What do you mean? You have a license now. You can work at a hospital or a big office. You don't need to work with just me. I knelt down. Nathan, I don't work with you because I need to. I work with you because I want to. That doesn't change. Besides, your dad pays me way more than a hospital would. He laughed, a small, real laugh. That evening, Thomas ordered catering from Sterling Oak. Gerald Davis personally delivered it. Heard you got your license back, Gerald said. Proud of you, Amara. I'm still keeping my weekend shifts. Gerald smiled. You're always welcome. But something tells me you're going to be busy. Thomas offered me a full-time position, family therapist plus consultant for Caldwell Pharmaceuticals. They were launching an autism family support program. I turned him down. I lost my career once when I depended on one family, I said. I won't make that mistake again. I need my own practice, my own clients. Then I can work with you because I choose to, not because I have to. Thomas nodded slowly. That's actually really smart. So you're saying no? Nathan asked. I'm saying I'll work with you 2 days a week. The other days, I'm building my own practice. Deal? Nathan and Thomas together. Deal. Amara got her license back and chose freedom over security, but Nathan's healing had just begun. 3 months later, Nathan wanted to have a birthday party. What if the kids are mean? Thomas asked me over the phone. What if he has a meltdown in front of everyone? Then we handle it, I said. But Thomas, you can't protect him from every hard thing. He wants to try. Let him. Nathan wanted 12 kids from his homeschool co-op, and he wanted the party at Sterling Oak, in the Acorn Room, where he'd gotten better. He's reclaiming the space, I told Thomas. That's healthy. We planned carefully. Saturday, 2 to 4 in the afternoon. 3 food options per course. No surprise singing, we'd announce it at 3:30. A quiet room available if anyone needed a break. Parents could stay. Visual schedules printed for every child. Sensory-friendly activities. Lego building station. Drawing corner. Quiet reading nook. No balloons. Dimmed lighting. 2700 Kelvin. Just like that first night. Thursday evening, Thomas got a call from Margaret Hayes, Executive Director of Autism Speaks Together, a non-profit advocacy organization. They wanted Thomas on their board. They wanted him to speak at their annual gala in December. I need to ask my son first, Thomas said. That night he talked to Nathan. Someone asked me to talk publicly about autism, about you. What do you think? What would you say? That having an autistic son is the best thing that ever happened to me. That you taught me how to be a better person. Would you say my name? Only if you want me to. Nathan thought for 3 minutes. Then he wrote on paper and handed it to Thomas. My name is Nathan. I am autistic. I don't talk a lot, but I think a lot. I am not broken. I am not a puzzle. I am not a tragedy. I am a person who needs things explained differently. If you're a parent with an autistic kid, listen to them even when they don't talk. They're saying something. You're just not hearing it yet. Thomas read it through tears. Can I read this at the gala? Yes, but I'm not going. Too many people. Deal. Saturday at 2 o'clock, the party started. 12 kids arrived, ages 8 to 11. Some neurotypical, some neurodivergent. Gerald greeted them at the door with visual schedule cards. 2 o'clock, arrive and free play. 2:30, lunch with 3 options. 3:15, cake time. 3:30, singing announced ahead. 3:45, present opening. 4 o'clock, pickup. Nathan stood at the edge of the room for 5 minutes, watching kids arrive, observing. Then he walked to the Lego station and started building. 2 kids joined him, Emma, 9 years old, and Lucas, 8. Emma asked, "Can I help?" Nathan nodded and handed her pieces. They built together for 15 minutes without words. At 2:30, lunch was served. Nathan sat with his back to the wall, facing the door. His choice of seat. 3 options: chicken tenders, plain pasta, grilled cheese. Nathan ate chicken tenders. Brand X. The right kind. First time since the 72-hour crisis. Thomas saw it and started crying. I squeezed his hand. At 3:15, I announced, "In 15 minutes, we'll sing Happy Birthday. If anyone needs to step out or cover their ears, that's okay." Nathan pulled out earplugs from his pocket. I'd taught him this preparation strategy. 2 other kids pulled out earplugs too. Solidarity. At 3:30, everyone sang. Nathan had his earplugs in, smiling, hands flapping. Happy stimming. He blew out 10 candles and made a silent wish. During present opening, Emma's family gave him a weighted blanket. "My mom said you might like it," Emma said. "I have one too." "I do like it," Nathan said. "Thank you." First time Nathan initiated conversation with a peer. At 4 o'clock, parents came for pickup. Emma's mother thanked Thomas for inviting them. Emma talks about Nathan all the time. She says he's a good builder. Lucas's father added, "This was the best organized kid party I've ever seen. The schedule helped my son so much. He has ADHD. The predictability was perfect." After everyone left, Nathan helped us clean up. He'd insisted. "That was a good party," he said. "It was perfect," Thomas replied. I was scared, but it was still good. "Being scared and doing it anyway," I said. "That's called courage." Am I courageous? Every single day. In the car going home, Nathan asked, "Dad, am I the reason you stopped being CEO?" Thomas pulled over and turned around. "Yes, and it's the best decision I ever made. But you love that job." "I love the idea of that job, but I love you more. Not even close." "Do you miss it?" "Sometimes I miss the easy parts, but I don't miss missing you." That evening, when Nathan was getting ready for bed, Thomas tucked him in. A new routine they'd started 3 months ago. "Dad, what did you wish for when you were 10? "I wished to be important, to matter." "Do you matter now?" "More than I ever did as CEO, because I matter to you, and you matter to me. That's the only math that counts." "What did I wish for today?" "You don't have to tell me." "I wished that next year, I won't be scared at my party. I'll just be happy." I think that's a good wish. Me too. Over the next 4 weeks, my practice grew to 8 clients. Thomas joined the nonprofit board and proposed a $500,000 family support fund from Caldwell Pharmaceuticals. Nathan returned to Sterling Oak with Thomas, resumed their Saturday tradition, ordered chicken tenders and ate the full plate. Gerald promoted my practice to restaurant staff. 3 employees booked appointments for their children. Nathan made a wish for next year's birthday, and for the first time, Thomas believed it could come true. 6 months after the birthday party, 11 months after that night at Sterling Oak. Saturday evening, 6:30. Nathan and Thomas sat at their usual table. Not the Acorn Room anymore. Nathan was comfortable in the main dining area now. Gerald approached. "The usual?" "Yes, please," Nathan said. "But can I have soup first this time?" "New addition. I like it. Coming right up." Thomas smiled. "Soup? That's new. Emma's family had soup at their house. I tried it. It was good." I joined them, as had become tradition on Saturdays. "I have news," I said. "I hired an assistant. 23 clients now. I can't manage alone anymore. And I'm starting a training program, teaching other therapists the sensory integration protocols. 6 people enrolled for January." "Are you going to teach them about napkin folding?" Nathan asked. I laughed. "That's lesson 1. Thomas shared his update. "I spoke at the gala last month. Read Nathan's statement. Got a standing ovation. 3 families approached me after. One father said he'd been trying to fix his daughter for 6 years. Nathan's words made him realize he was trying to fix the wrong thing." "What was he supposed to fix?" Nathan asked. "His own understanding," Thomas said. Gerald brought dessert, chocolate cake, Nathan's new favorite. "Do you remember that night?" Nathan asked me. "When I was on the floor and you folded napkins?" "I remember. I was so scared. I thought everyone was mad at me." "And now?" "Now I know they weren't mad. They just didn't know how to help. But you did. You helped yourself, Nathan. I just showed you how." Jennifer, the waitress from that first night, stopped by. "Nathan, good to see you. Chicken tenders tonight?" "No, I had soup and pasta, but maybe next week." Thomas turned to me. 11 months ago. Feels like a different lifetime." "It was," I said. "For all of us." We left the restaurant at 8 o'clock. Nathan walked between us, not holding hands, but close. "Can we come back next Saturday?" he asked. "Every Saturday, buddy." "Good. I like our Saturdays." "Me too." People ask me what I did that night at Sterling Oak. They want a formula, a technique, a secret. But there was no secret. I just listened. I listened to what Nathan's body was saying when he couldn't use words. I listened to what his silence meant. I listened to what everyone else was too busy to hear. Nathan didn't need to be fixed. He needed to be heard. Thomas didn't need to be a perfect father. He needed to be a present one. And I didn't need to prove I was still a therapist. I needed to remember I never stopped being one. 11 months later, Nathan orders soup. Thomas runs a company part-time and fathers full-time, and I teach other people what I learned. That sometimes the smallest act of listening can save a life. That's not a miracle. That's just what happens when we pay attention. If this story reminded you that everyone deserves to be heard more than fixed, maybe someone in your life needs to hear it too. And if you want more stories about small acts that change everything, I'd be grateful if you subscribed, because these stories need to keep being told.